Hey, Joe.
Hey, Haps.
So, Quant,
Yeah.
how many people are poor?
In the United States or the world?
Let's start with the United States.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 47 million people in the United States are poor.
47 million out of what? 323 million people who live here? That means,
1 in 7 people who live in the USA are poor.
how good is your data?
It's flawed.
How's that?
My poverty data is flawed.
Oh, that must drive you nuts.
How can you count people who are invisible, without a permanent residence, children not in school? I mean, the list goes on.
So it might be closer to 1 in 6 people living in the U.S. in poverty.
Maybe, but there's no data to confirm that assumption, though.
So where are they? My guess is everywhere, huh? But I gotta ask anyway. If I was to look at a map of the U.S., would I be able to see where the poor people live?
Oh, I know the answer because I like to look at maps. Now, this is a map of the northern and southern states in the Civil War. Yeah, some places they're not states yet, but it's still a pretty good map. Yeah. Oh, and this one. Yeah, now this map shows the states with the most poverty today. Now, if you look at the southern states there, and you look at the poverty states here, they're practically the same.
Lots of similarities.
Yeah.
So, Quant, how does this look to you from a statistical research perspective?
Well, it's a broad interpretation, but the pattern is certainly clear.
Sorry to be interrogating, but I'm trying to piece together a story here. Any demographic information? I mean, who is poor? And I'm still just asking about the USA, okay?
Most poor people in the United States are either black, Hispanic, or both. Most who are not are either white or Asian.
Well, that was direct.
And accurate.
So poverty is a racial issue.
Of course it is. Are you surprised? Remember Martin Luther King Jr.'s Poor People's March and his assassination just before it took place? I'm just saying.
You saying there was a connection?
Oh, I'm saying the man was pulling together the black, American Indian, Puerto Rican, Mexican American, and poor white communities to march on Washington to demand what amounted to an end to poverty.
Well, let me look that up here. Come on, let's see. It says, a determination by people of all colors and backgrounds to assert and win their right to a decent life and respect for their culture and dignity.
Yeah, Dr. King was trying to eradicate poverty in his lifetime, and he died trying. And now, it's our responsibility.
Yeah, so you believe. Let's see. Me? I'm still gathering information. Quant, how does the U.S. compare with the rest of the world?
Well, the World Bank puts the global poverty rate at just under 10%.
So the U.S. poverty rate, let's see, that was 14%? Is actually worse than the global poverty rate at less than 10%? That does not sound right to me.
Well, the UN uses $1.25 per day as its poverty line, and the World Bank uses $1.90 per day as its poverty line.
Yeah, why don't they just call it $1.50 and call it even?
It doesn't really work that way. But if we use a similar scale in the US, usually it's referred to as $2 per day, then the best available data pegs the US poverty rate at just between 3 and 4%. But these are estimates, not absolute, and I hate funky numbers.
But sometimes funky is the best anyone can do.
Let me run through this so I can understand it. The global poverty rate is probably about 10%, and the U.S. poverty rate is probably about 3 or 4%.
But how many people are poor?
Well, you have all the data. You just need to put it together. So what's 10% of 7.4 billion?
740 million?
So 740 million people is a reasonable estimate of the poor people around the world.
How many are in the United States? Haps, use your estimation skills. How much is 3% of 323 million?
Well, let's see. 1% of 323 is 3.23. And I can multiply that number by 3 because it's 3%. So 10 million more poor people? Or am I counting the poor people in the U.S. twice?
Maybe you are, but these are rough estimates anyway.
Oh, so there are roughly 750 million poor people in the world?
750 million poor people? Oh, that's more than twice the total population of the USA.
Yeah, sure is. I think if the poor people counted themselves, I bet there'd be 1 billion. Easy. But they got better things to do, like trying to stay alive.